in the waiting room. All right, we can go ahead and get started. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to our 2025 Winter Institute Board of Regents Chairman, Rudy Flores, to kick us off. Rudy.
Good afternoon and good morning, depending on what part of the country you're in. Welcome to our pre-site information session. I believe most of you are probably first years new to the program. So we first off just want to welcome you to IOM, and we're happy that you are going to be with us in Tucson, Arizona in January. There may be some fast trackers on here, which means you've gone to probably other sites within the country. So welcome to Tucson a couple of weeks before. And then if you've already been, welcome back. We're excited to have you. Today, we're just going to go over some logistical stuff happening on site so you can get your bearing straight before showing up in Arizona. But I will turn it over to the IOM staff to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Karen, who let you into the meeting this morning.
Great. Thank you, Rudy. As Rudy said, my name is Karen McCray. I am Senior Director of the Institute Program on U.S. Chamber staff. And again, we look forward to having you join us in Tucson in just a few weeks. So as Rudy said, the purpose of the session is to just go over the week of events, what you should know, what to expect, etc. We'll be sharing a lot of information. We'll have some links for you to access. This session will be recorded. But if at any point in time you have questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. We'll have time at the end for Q&A. You can also, of course, reach out to us after the session if your question was not answered. But we will be running through things. I'll have the rest of the team introduce themselves as they speak on their section, because you'll hear from all of us. But again, please don't hesitate to drop your question in the chat. So with that, we'll start with preparing for Institute. So class advisors, they are all graduates of the program. They're all volunteers, and they are there to help guide you as attendees through the week and to provide all sorts of information to you. They will physically be on site with you. They'll be sitting in the classrooms, at least for all of the core classes, and they are your go-to point person. If you have questions, concerns, anything at all, your class advisor is your first point person to reach out to, and they will help address the situation, respond in whichever way appropriate, whether that's them themselves handling it or elevating up to either the Board of Regents or staff. We'll make sure that we get whatever the issue or question or concern handled in the appropriate way. I think we have some class advisors on the call with us. So during the Q&A session, we can certainly hear from them if you all would like to chime in, not required to. And if you have not heard from your class advisor by this point and you have registered before Thanksgiving, please go ahead and let us know. Either drop a message in the chat or send us an email at iom@uschamber.com, and we'll get you connected appropriately. Want to make sure that you do hear from your class advisor at least once prior to arriving on site. I gave the cutoff of Thanksgiving because it is a rolling registration. So if you have registered more recently, it's very, very possible that you just missed the last communication, that it went out before you had registered. So with that, we have a couple of tools available for you, in addition to your class advisor, where you can get all the information that you'll need for the week: the Linktree and the Event Hub. You'll be able to access the Linktree, of course. There is the link on the presentation, which you'll receive a copy of afterwards. We can also drop the link in the chat, but you'll be able to access it when you're on site as well through a QR code. You'll have it printed on your name badge as well as your tent card, which you'll pick up during registration. And the Linktree is kind of your home base. Thank you, Nathan, for putting that in there. It's your home base for the week. It is a general page that is accessible to all attendees, faculty, volunteers, staff, etc. So it's not personalized, but it does have all the information and links to the information that you'll need. Very important on here will be a link to all of the course evaluations. So you'll be asked to complete a course eval after every class that you take. That's how we get our feedback. That's how we help improve the program from a curriculum standpoint. So definitely the Linktree is something that you will want to familiarize yourself with. The Event Hub is personalized to your registration. So you will need to log in. We recommend that you bookmark this page and that you save your credentials so that way, or your login credentials, excuse me, so that way it'll be easier for you in the moment when you're trying to access your schedule. Those of you who are not first years might remember that we also had an app option in the past. We no longer have that for 2025 moving forward. So the Event Hub is really your place where you want to go to access your personal schedule of classes for the week, locations. It's where all of your handouts and course presentations will be, as well as all of the directories, the attendees, the faculty, the volunteers, maps, a whole plethora of information will be available to you in the Event Hub. So if you have any issues logging in, again, just send us an email, iom@uschamber.com. I definitely recommend trying to log in before you get to site, so that way you're just prepared, ready to go. As far as attire goes, you'll see a range in the classroom, always professional. Again, this is a professional education program, so we definitely want everyone to be professional and also comfortable. You'll see a whole variety. Those of you who have class t-shirts, feel free to wear them with pride during the week. We also have Winter Institute merch available. We'll talk about a little bit later during this call. So of course, feel free to wear that. You can dress in business casual, again, whatever you're comfortable with, but we definitely recommend layers. Those of you who were at the winter site last year or earlier this year, I guess in January, might remember that it was unseasonably cold. So highly recommend bringing layers. We never know what the temperature is going to be. In the desert, we do know that it is cold in the mornings and in the evenings. So even if it does reach that perfect temperature in my mind of 75 degrees, it's still cold in the mornings and at night. Hopefully we won't see any rain. Again, last year we did, as well as hail. So always bring an umbrella. I think it's just a good travel tip anyway. Comfortable walking shoes for those who are staying at the Marriott, which is the host hotel. It's about a 9 to 12 minute walk between the Marriott and the campus, the student union where classes are held, depending upon your walking speed, of course. So if you're able to do that walk, it is very nice. It's a good way to wake you up in the morning, but definitely want to have some comfortable walking shoes. As far as other materials, devices, laptops, notebooks, Cece will actually talk a little bit more about that later on in the call. But again, however you're comfortable following along, however you prefer to take notes, whatever device you are comfortable tagging or trekking along with you, I should say. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Nathan to talk a little bit more about arriving at Institute and then what to expect that first day.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Nathan Graham. I'm the Associate Manager for Institute. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the day one activities. We'll start off with the optional ones, the brunch and golf. If you have already looked at the Linktree, you can already see some information about the brunch and golf excursion. Those are optional and hosted by our lovely board of regents and class advisors. So they will be taking care of that. Follow that information if you need any more. And let's move on to the actual Institute stuff. The first thing we're going to look at is the IOM Expo. This is kind of a new thing that we're doing this year, where it'll be more of a central hub for everything to gather. It'll be from 2:30 to 4 p.m. Local time in the Marriott Ballroom. There'll be registration. You'll be able to pick up all of your stuff, your name badges. all of your materials, and then you'll meet your class advisor in person if you haven't already met them in person. And then there's going to be some various info tables talking about lunch table topics, some tech stuff, anything else that we're looking to inform you about. And obviously there will be everyone there to ask any questions. Plus you get to meet your fellow attendees, the Board of Regents, other class advisors, build your network and get started. And there will be small bites there. There's food there, guys. You should come get the food and then meet other people. And then we'll move on to homeroom, or actually the grad rehearsal first, because this is important to me as I will be graduating at Winter this time. So I need to know about this. So grad rehearsal is for the 4th years at 3:30, and the walking tour will also be there. We'll also be coming from the hotel to the campus, and then we'll move on to homerooms from 4 to 4:45 in the room where all of your core classes will be held, and that will be on your schedule. And then the class advisor will go over any introductions, guidelines, expectations, and everything you all need to succeed for the week. And then finally, kick off the best thing to start off the week. It's from 5 to 5:30 in the Student Union Memorial Center, the Grand Ballroom. That place will be familiar for you throughout the week, as it's where lunch, the silent auction, and among other things, other activities will be held there. And then you'll get a welcome from the Board of Regents, from us on staff, and from your faculty member speaker, which this time is the incredible Megan Lucas. If you haven't heard of her, you will certainly hear about her. And if you have already met her, you already know how great she is, and she'll just kick off the week with a great mood. And then we'll also hear from the Tucson Chamber President, Michael Gaiman, and then he will open the night, and then there will be a Board of Regents gathering afterwards. More information to come once we're on site. But now I think I will pass it off to my lovely colleague, Cece Francisco. IOM CDP.
Thanks, Nathan. And just wanted to go over some things, starting by what to expect from being in the classroom. So please note, attendance is required for credit. And if you have any conflicts or anything comes up, please work with your class advisor on any attendance issues or concerns, and they will convey that to Institute staff. Class advisors, as Karen mentioned, or Institute volunteers will be in the classroom at the start of class. And I would expect that they will be providing important broadcasts at the beginning of class, taking attendance, and introducing the faculty members. And different faculty members may ask you prior to arriving on site to come prepared with materials. So keep an eye out in your inbox in the upcoming weeks. And please be sure to visit the event website and review what materials and handouts are included. One thing to note is that the handouts and materials will be provided in the event hub once they're received from faculty, but you may not have access, and I would not expect to have full access to the presentations prior to site. This will start the week following when registration closes. So registration closes next Friday, December 13th, as it's been was recently extended, and materials will be provided after that point. And please bring something to take notes on. So whether that's a laptop, a notebook, if the device is electronic, please be sure that it's fully charged. Not all classrooms have an ample number of outlets. So just be sure that's charged before class. Karen did mention the temperature. This is always something that comes up. Being in a building, you can never control if it's too warm or too cold. Definitely bring a jacket. You think winter in Tucson will be warm, but just bring a jacket because the classrooms sometimes do run a little bit cold. As far as being in the classroom, there are core and elective classes. So there will be 6 core and 3 elective classes for the week. The core classes are 3 hours long and have a 30-minute break and are divided by year. So 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year. And then class sections will all attend the core classes together. So if you're in 1st year, you'll be with your core class for the full duration of the week for your core classes. There are elective classes that are 2 hours long, and those do not have a break. So just be sure that in between the transition, you are using the restroom, making any calls, taking care of what you need to. There will not be a break in the electives because they are 2 hours. And these are a mix of all years. So you may have people in your elective classes from 1st years, 4th years, 3rd years, 2nd years. It's going to be a little mixed bag there. Be sure to check your agenda for the location. And there will be 1 elective class on Monday afternoon, so that first day of classes, and then 2 on Tuesday morning. And This is very important. So if you're not listening, listen to this part. This is the most important. We always get this question. If you're going to listen to anything, this is the one thing I want you to hear from me is electives. If you want to see what electives you've taken before and either take a different class or you are invited to take the same elective. So if you took one elective last year, you really liked it and you want a refresher, you're welcome to take it. But if you want to see what you've taken before, you need to email the IOM inbox and change your selections before site. So that's before registration closes next Friday. So we'll drop the email here in the chat here at the IOM at US Chamber. Again, you are welcome to retake an elective, or if you'd like to change that, you're welcome to. But be sure to change that by logging into your registration before it closes next Friday. As far as the breaks, there will be beverages in the morning. So from 7 to 8 a.m., there will be beverages available. So coffee, tea. Just be sure to do breakfast, and note breakfast is on your own. So some people aren't big breakfast people, but just be sure you eat something that's not a surprise you want to run into on the first day, coming without food. But that said, during the 30-minute morning break, and then the hour lunch and the 30-minute afternoon break, there will be snacks and then a full lunch served. So breaks will consist of catered snacks and drinks in the student union. So this is on campus, while the 1 hour buffet style lunch is provided in the same room. So if you listed any dietary restrictions during registration, these have been shared with our on-site catering. But if you do have any concerns, please reach out to your class advisor or to ourselves as Institute staff. And that's everything I have, but I will pass it over to my colleague, Ivy.
Thank you, Cece. My name is Ivy Mitchell. I am the coordinator with Institute. If you're emailing IOM at US Chamber, that's me. So it is nice to speak to you all from not behind my laptop screen, but also still behind my laptop screen. So diving right in with industry consultations, the industry consultation program is a really great opportunity to speak one-on-one with some of the many subject matter experts we have on site, our regents, our faculty, our trustees, and any number of other volunteers. And you can dive into, an issue that was raised in class that maybe you just didn't have enough time to really discuss, or a really specific professional issue you're having. But really you get the chance to go in depth with some subject matter experts. I'm going to drop a form in the chat right here, but this will also be available on the Linktree and on the Event Hub so that you're able to do this on site. But if there's something you're really interested in, I encourage you to fill it out early. But moving on to some of our extracurricular options, class dinners and the activity are a really great way to connect with the people you're taking your core classes with outside of the classroom. As Karen mentioned, your class advisor should have contacted you at this point, and they might have shared some details regarding this. And if they haven't, please reach out and we will make sure that's all squared away and you get all that information. These are typically held on Monday. And it's a really great opportunity to also maybe see some parts of Tucson that you wouldn't have otherwise. Lunch table topics are also a very popular way to keep the discussion going from the classroom to over your meal. We will have a table at the IOM Expo that is specific to this. So you can, at that point on the Sunday, visit that table and see what topics that we'll be discussing throughout the week. This occurs at every single lunch break we have, but with a variety of topics throughout the week. We also have an association gathering that the Board of Regents will be hosting. So this is a little bit more specific. I know we're a little bit in our chamber world sometimes, but we also want to be welcoming to our association people. The Board of Regents will be hosting, as I mentioned, and we'll be announcing more information as that comes to us. And then moving on to our silent auction and fundraising. So this is a really great way to give back to Institute. All proceeds from the silent auction go straight into 2026 winter. So it's not going to a different site. It's going straight to this site for next year. So it's a really great way to give back to people that you might have even taken classes with this year. So I'm going to drop a couple of links in the chat right now. But the first one you'll see there is the donation form. So if you decide that you want to donate an item, that can be brought to registration. The IOM Expo on Sunday will have a table with people waiting to accept your wonderful items that you've graciously decided to donate. And as well as you can see the multiple ways to get into the auction once that is live. So the phone number, as well as our event gives platform, which will be live, and you'll be able to participate in the action while you're at Institute. And then finally, our merch. So if you're just so excited for Tucson and you're just wanting to get ready and be in the best outfit, maybe get a jacket because it might be cold, our merch orders are open until December 9th. So this is a great way to make sure, you got the slickest looking class there. But with that, I'll hand that over to Karen to talk a little bit more about graduation.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivy. So yes, graduation is the culmination of the entire Institute journey. So I don't know if we have any fourth years on the call with us today, but it's a wonderful opportunity to celebrate and to recognize those who will be graduating at the end of the week. Everyone is expected to attend. It's a great time to see the whole group. So attendees, faculty, volunteers, staff, everyone will be gathered together in one room, and all the grads will be recognized. They'll get to get their certificate, walk across the stage. We'll hear from some speakers, representatives from each of the classes, the two graduating classes, as well as some of our volunteer leaders and staff. So this opportunity will be on Wednesday at the Marriott Hotel in the ballroom, actually in the same space that the IOM Expo and registration is on Sunday. So you should be familiar with the location by Wednesday. Prior to the ceremony, for any graduates, we'll be taking photos, and you'll receive more specific instructions and logistical information during grad rehearsal on Sunday. But we do ask grads to arrive at 5:30. Everyone else, the ceremony will start at 6:30. We will have some small bites, some pre-ceremony bites available in the lobby of the hotel starting at 5:45. Again, this is opportunity for you to mix and mingle with your fellow attendees and participants. The ceremony itself should last about an hour. Afterwards, we will have an opportunity to take class photos. Grads, your photos again will be taken before the ceremony, but for everyone else, we will have a professional photographer there, and we'll kind of go backwards and start with the third year class. Well, actually, we'll start with scholarship recipients first, and then move on to the third year classes and so forth and so on to take the professional photo. Of course, you're welcome and encouraged to take photos with your class throughout the week. This is just the one time where we'll have our professional photographer, and everyone is typically dressed, as we mentioned earlier, a little bit more formal for graduation. So afterwards, you're encouraged to celebrate as you see fit. Sometimes classes go to another class dinner together. Sometimes smaller groups go off and explore Tucson. You can use that time to catch up on work, catch up on sleep, however you would like to celebrate at the end of the week. We do have like I said, 7:30, I believe. Yes, 7:30 is when the anticipated end time will be, plus pictures. So a couple of minutes. I wouldn't plan for anything before 8 o'clock, just to give yourself some buffer of time in between the ceremonies. But that is up to you to do as you please. And then we have our final day. We do have class that morning. The last core class again starts at 8, the same as it always does every morning. The silent auction will close at 8 a.m. I believe Ivy mentioned that. So anyone who is lucky enough to win an item will be asked to pick up said item in the auction room, which is the ballroom, the same place where breaks and lunches are at that morning break. There's only one break that day. So at 9:30, you will be requested to pick up your auction item, and then everything ends. Class ends at 11:30. And then if you are staying at the Marriott Hotel, that checkout is at 12 p.m. So definitely recommend that you're mostly packed up, ready to go. For those who would like to check out earlier, I know they will store luggage for you down in the lobby behind the front desk. So that is officially the end of a week. I know we threw a lot at you. So at this point, would love to answer any questions. It doesn't look like that any have come in since that one earlier on in the chat, but feel free, again, drop it in the chat or raise your hand if we have any other volunteers on the call, class advisors or other members of the Board of Regents. If you'd like to chime in while people are thinking of questions, please feel free. Raise your hand and we can get you unmuted, or again, toss it back to Rudy if you want to say anything. I see Maureen has her hand raised. Thank you. Sorry, I have pop-ups. Try to allow your mic. Perfect. All right, you should be good to go. Sorry.
Okay, sounds good to go. Well, my name is Maureen Johns, and I am with the Frisco Chamber of Commerce in Frisco, Texas, and I earned my IOM last year at Winter Institute. In between that, I did have a stint at Midwest, making up for some COVID time. So I just really want to encourage those, whether you started at Winter or you've been other places or you've been all the places, don't hesitate to reach out to your class advisors. We are really here to answer any questions you might have. No question is a silly question. Even if you have concerns about, how do you juggle being fully present for this when you have, stuff going on at work or family stuff. We've all been through it. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask us questions or for any of our insight on it. And I just want to encourage everybody on this call to just truly lean in to the opportunity and just connect with as many people as you can. Oh, and take advantage. One of my favorite things, take advantage of the industry insights, those one-on-one connections, because I really gained a lot of information for what I do at the Chamber through those. So make sure you connect and do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Maureen. Appreciate your insights. Jamie, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, I don't actually have my camera on, so I apologize, but
No worries.
my chat is also not working, so that's why I raised my hand. Technical difficulties all around. But I do have a quick question. So it appears as though the Marriott is sold out. And so do you guys have another close by that you would recommend? I thought about doing an Airbnb, but I also am not familiar with the area and walking distance and all the things. Do you guys have a second option?
Yes. So unfortunately, we only have one host hotel in which we have a room block, but there is another property right next door to the Marriott, which is the Graduate Tucson. I know some people stay there, again, outside of the block. It is a very nice property. They have a great rooftop restaurant. So that for sure, it's literally right next door. So that's a great recommendation. There are also a couple of places downtown, again, not walking distance, but some are on the, I think, is it called the Sunlink, Rudy? I'm gonna call it you, Rudy, because I know you typically stay downtown.
Usually stays somewhere different. There is, like Karen said, the Graduate Hotel, which is across the street. It can be a little pricey, but it's brand new and gorgeous. Across campus is the Aloft Hotel. So that's a more reasonable price. I've stayed there before. It is accessible by streetcar, but it's also not a bad walk if you don't mind walking in 60-degree weather or 55-degree weather in the morning. And then downtown, there are definitely a lot of hotels, and there's a streetcar. It's called the Sunlink. It is free to use. It's extremely safe. And then I've also stayed in Airbnbs. There are plenty within walking distance of the campus as well.
Okay,
then,
thank you both.
Yeah, you can reach out to me at rudy@lincolnsquare.org. I'll put it in the chat if you have any further questions, because I think out of all the Board of Regents, I've been the one that's that's stayed at multiple locations over the years.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. And I just put a link for the Sunlink streetcar in the chat. And thank you, David, for putting a link to the Graduate as well. And Rudy dropped his email. Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions or comments or volunteers that want to share anything? Okay. All right. Well, definitely want to be respectful of everyone's time. Again, if you think of something, Class advisor is your go-to person, or if you have a question for staff, iom@uschamber.com. And we very much look forward to seeing you in Tucson in just a few weeks. With that, if there's nothing else, I'll let you get back to your day. But hope everyone's enjoying a wonderful holiday season and looking forward to seeing you in the new year. Thanks, everyone.